Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Fundamental Study. I hope you all are doing good. Today's topic, which we are going to discuss, is transportation or also called as blood circulation system in our body, and what are the type of uh, body fluids which we generally discuss, which we generally read out. There are two types of body fluids which we generally discuss. These are blood and lymph fluid or tissue fluid. Then we will read more about what are the components of blood, then how the blood functions and function heart, how the blood circulation process takes place and how heart functions. Then we will discuss about blood groups as well as lastly, in the last we will discuss some of the questions based on this topic. Now let's come to the first point. What is the blood? Blood is generally a connective tissue. What are the functions of blood? Why, first of all, what is this is a connective tissue. Why this is a connective tissue? Because it connects different parts of our body. That is why it is a connective tissue. It transports gases. What are the functions of blood? It transports gases. It also hormones as well as food substances. It also removes waste product from our body cells. It maintains water balance, pH of our body, fluid, and as well as body temperature. That is why it is also called as thermoregulator. The blood circulation term, yeah, or blood circulation process was first discovered by William Harvey. He is also called as the father of blood circulation system. In case of adult, there is generally 4 to 5 liter of blood found. Blood also prevents the hemorrhage. How? In case of injury in brain, there is a lot. Whenever if there is no blood clot, there is a loss of a lot of blood, which will lead to brain hemorrhage and ultimately lead to the death of the patient. Alkalinity, in case of its nature, it is slightly alkaline in nature. On pH scale, its alkalinity is somewhat 7.35 to 7.45. Now come to the next point or topic, that is what are the components of the blood. In this chapter, generally there are three components of the blood. First one is blood cells, next one is platelets, and then is third one is plasma. Blood cells, platelets, and plasma. In there are in blood cells we will discuss two type of blood cells. One is RBC, that is red blood cells. Another one is WBC. RBC are red in color, and why WBC are colorless. Why RBC are red in color? Because of the presence of the pigment hemoglobin. In case of WBC, there is no pigment like hemoglobin. That is why they are colorless. Now come to the first blood cell, that is RBC. RBC generally RBC is also called as the erythrocytes. They are generally found in where they are found in red bone marrow, and where they are dead, they dead in spleen. Spleen is also called as the graveyard of the red blood cells. In case of hilly areas, our RBCs are more as compared to plain areas, people living in plain areas. Why? Because in case of mountainous or high regions, people need high level of oxygen. That is why they have to do lot amount of energy utilization, which is needed to for this. They also have high number of RBCs as compared to plain areas. Average life of your RBC is 120 days. RBC, in RBC there is a pigment which is also called as hemoglobin, which is uh, uh, red in color because of presence of iron. That is why RBCs are red in color. The quantity of hemoglobin is generally 12 to 15 gram per 100 ml of our blood. In 100 ml, there should be 12 to 15 gram of hemoglobin. If there is deficiency of hemoglobin, there is a disease which is called as the anemia happens. In case of generally, if this disease is caused due to lack of hemoglobin. Women with generally women face this disease because of lack of, because during menstruation they there are loss of bleeding, lot of bleeding. Because of this bleeding, hemoglobin deficiency is generated, which makes them feel very weak. Another disease associated with RBCs, whenever there is a very high level of RBC, there is a disease also called as the polycythemia or erythemia is generated. This makes blood very thick. Here blood become very thick. Third disease associated with RBC is thalassemia. This is a genetic or this is a hereditary disease. It happens in children from birth itself. Generally, this is found in childs. The only remedy for this is transfusion of blood. The blood has to be transfused or changed. Patient's blood has to be changed from time to time. Next, blood cell we will discuss is white blood cells, also called as the leukocyte. Leukocytes are generally colorless because of lack of hemoglobin. They are nucleated. They have generally large. They are generally larger in size, but lesser in number than RBC. They what are their how many RBCs or WBCs are found? They are approximately 7,000 to 10,000 per mm cube. In case of ratio RBC to WBC, 500 is to 1. If there is the 1 WBC, there are 500 RBCs present in our blood. Disease associated with white blood cell is leukemia. These white blood cells can be further divided into agranulocyte and granulocyte. Now let's come to the next blood component, that is platelet. Platelet is also called as the thrombocyte. It is produced from megakaryocyte. It is also called as thrombocyte and produced from megakaryocyte. They are generally non-nucleated, colorless, and smallest oval or disc-like structure. Their quantity is approximately 2.5 to 4 lakh per mm cube. Average life of platelet is 10 days, while in case of RBC it was 120 days. In case of platelet it is 10 days. Where they are manufactured, they are also manufactured in the red blood cells. Sorry, red bone marrow. They are also manufactured in red bone marrow, just like red blood cells. Platelets are important for blood clotting because during blood clotting, platelets disintegrate. On disintegration, they formulate thrombopkinase or thromboplastin, which is important for blood clotting. Platelet disintegration makes thromboplastin, which is important for blood clotting. And vitamin K is also important in blood clotting. Why? Because it produces prothrombin. Now let's come to what is the blood clotting. Blood clotting is we are going to discuss it in a simpler term. For example, water is flowing through a pipe. If there is a leakage in pipe, then water doesn't reach to the end part of the or destination. It will not reach to the destination. That is what your blood in case of injury, same process happens in our body. If there is injury or leakage in our body, your blood doesn't reach to the last part or every tissue of the body. To prevent this leakage, our body makes clot. This clot is made by uh, uh, the process of this clotting is called as the blood clotting. In how the what is the process of blood clotting? In blood contains generally an inactive enzyme which is also called as prothrombin. This is an inactive. In during normal flowing, whenever there is no injury, this is in an inactive stage, and its activity is also checked by heparin, which is also called as antiprothrombin. This is another substance which checks the prothrombin activity of prothrombin. In case of any injury, this inactive enzyme becomes active, and uh, along with thromboplastin, which is made from vitamin K, and thromboplastin is made from disintegration of platelets, and prothrombin is made from vitamin K. Along with calcium ions, these formulate the blood clot or blood coagulation. Blood coagulation. If any of these component is lacking, or absence of any of this component doesn't make blood coagulate, blood clotting doesn't happen, will not happen. General time for blood coagulation is approximately 3 minutes or 2 to 6 minutes. Uh, there is a protein in plasma which is called as fibrinogen. This forms a mass or jelly-like structure in first when wound, or then within few minutes this clot becomes formed. Now let's come to the next blood component, that is plasma. Plasma is generally a faint yellow colored viscous fluid which is a alkaline in nature. Its alkalinity is one third of C salinity. Plasma contains 55% of total blood volume. Plasma is generally a protein. Blood is a protein because a component of blood is protein. There are generally three proteins that are found in plasma. One is albumin, another is globulin, then fibrinogen. Albumin provides what does albumin do? Albumin provides colloidal osmotic pressure in plasma, while fibrinogen is essential for blood clotting because it forms a mesh-like structure. Then after blood clotting, plasma blood components. Now let's come to the second fluid that is also called as lymphatic fluid or tissue fluid. How this is manufactured? This is made whenever there are nutrients or plasma leaking out from the body, and they set out in intercellular spaces. They formulate a tissue fluid, which is called as the tissue fluid or lymphatic fluid. This is a major component of our immune system. It removes excess fluid from our body tissues. It produces immune cells. Excessive volume of lymph fluid causes swelling, which is also called as dropsy or oedema. Spleen, uh, spleen serves as a graveyard of RBC. It also acts as a reservoir for blood. It purifies and filters of blood. It also stores and purifies your lymph fluid also that reaches to it. Lymphatic fluid drains in lymphatic capillaries from intercellular spaces. This is what our second body fluid, that is lymphatic or tissue fluid, is. Now let's come to the heart. What are the some of the fact of functioning of the heart? Heart is generally a pumping system. Most of the mammals have four-chambered heart. We human beings have also four-chambered heart. Some birds have a two-chambered heart because birds have their chambers are totally separate because they need high amount of energy. That is why there should not be any type of any mixing in between oxygenated and deoxygenated. In case of some animals, there some amount of mixing is allowed because they do not need that amount of energy which is needed in case of uh, birds. For example, fish have two, amphibians have three, some of the wild earthworm has 16 chambered heart. There are three basic blood vessels which are useful for functioning of heart. What are these? These are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries are the blood vessels. They are which take oxygenated blood from the heart to different components of body tissues, while veins are the blood vessels which bring deoxygenated blood from body tissues to heart, while capillaries act as a these capillaries joins arteries and veins. Connect arteries and veins. In case of arteries, aorta is the largest artery, while vena cava is largest vein. While there are one exception in artery and vein, pulmonary artery works as a uh, pulmonary artery brings deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs, while pulmonary vein work as it brings oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. These are the two exceptions of artery. Generally, human and other mammals have double circulatory system. What is this double circulatory system? One, it passes through from lungs to heart. Another one is heart to different body components or body tissues. It is called as double circulatory system. The first heart transplantation was done by Christian Bernard in India. The first heart transplantation was done by Dr. Venugopal. The normal weight of heart is 300 grams. Now come to the functioning of the heart. These are some of the components. Aorta, which we recently discussed, it is the largest artery, and vena cava, largest vein. In case of this is pulmonary vein. Pulmonary, how this functions? Pulmonary vein brings oxygenated blood from lungs to heart, left chamber of the heart. As we know that we have four chambered heart. One is left chamber, left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle. This pulmonary vein does. This brings the oxygenated blood from lungs to left atrium. After left atrium, these are the muscular chambers. After filling uh, this oxygenated blood goes to the left ventricle. After this left ventricle is fully filled, this blood goes to at a very high pressure through arteries. Arteries are thick blood vessel because they bring a high pressure blood. This aorta and arteries bring a high pressure or oxygenated blood to different body components or body tissues. After this oxygenated blood is completely utilized or oxygen is exhausted, this deoxygenated blood is brought from this via this vena cava. This brings from different tissues this deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. Once this is reached to the right atrium, it reaches after right atrium, it reaches to right ventricle. Once right ventricle is completely filled, it is sent to the lungs, which is the work of the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery brings this deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs. On reaching the lungs, this deoxygenated blood loses the carbon dioxide and gains the oxygen. This oxygen is this hemoglobin that is found in our red blood cells has high affinity towards oxygen. While if there is carbon monoxide in our body, then hemoglobin shows more affinity than oxygen towards this carbon monoxide. That is why in case of if there is carbon monoxide in our body, which is very much harmful for our body, it may lead to the death of the patient. This is the process. Simple. First, it is lungs. From lungs, oxygenated blood is sent to the heart via pulmonary vein. Heart, first part of the heart where this oxygenated blood comes is left atrium. After this, it reaches to left ventricle. Once left ventricle is completely filled, it reaches to the through aorta, it reaches to the different body tissues. After this body tissues, oxygenated blood has been completely utilized. This deoxygenated blood via vena cava reaches to right atrium. After right atrium, it reaches to right ventricle, and after right ventricle, it is sent to the lungs via pulmonary artery. This is the blood circulatory process. Because this is double. Why this is double circulation? Because through lungs to heart, from heart to different body components. That is why it is called as the double circulation system. Now, some of the diseases associated with heart. One is congenital heart disease, another one is coronary, and there is rheumatic heart disease. Coronary heart disease is a disease which is generally found in aged persons or person more than 60 years of age. This is found because their vessels, blood vessels, there is a fat in their blood vessels, or their blood vessels got blocked, or a blockage in their blood vessels. To bypass this, there are bypass surgery is done, or stent is put in their body, for which this blood circulation process is completely fixed. And one is there is a component. There is a component which is sometimes you must have listened about pacemaker. This act as a artificial pumping system. Whenever your heart is not pumping properly, this artificial pump, which is called as a pacemaker, is fitted in the body of the patient. Now come to the next point, next topic, that is blood group. A, AB, B, and O are main blood groups. With with regard to transfusion, A can, as we know, O lacks antigen, O is universal donor. AB has no antibody, that is why it is universal acceptor. A sends A can donate blood to the A as well as AB. While from whom A can take blood, A can take blood from A as well as O. In case of same, there is a AB. AB can take blood from everybody, while it can donate blood to AB. Same is the process of all these blood groups. You can easily combine every blood group. There is one another blood group that is also found, which is rarest of rare, found in Indian continent, that was discovered by Y.M. Hende in 1952. It is called as the Bombay blood group. They are also demanding that our blood group is also included in this category, so that we don't face any problem in blood transfusion. Then there is some miscellaneous information, just like ECG, electrocardiograph. Electrocardiograph is a graphical representation of the electrical signals which our heart is shows. Then there is a stethoscope. Stethoscope measures the heartbeat of the person. Then another instrument you must have listened is sphygmomanometer or BP monitor. In this PP monitor, we must have listened the two terms, systolic and diastolic pressure. Systolic is the contraction pressure when your heart is contracted, while diastolic is the mode, relaxation mode of our heart. In case of a healthy person, your normal reading is 125 80 mmHg. Now let's come to some of the top questions with regard to this topic. In the human body, blood flows through a process of double circulation. Which of the following statement is true in this regard? Oxygenated blood reaches left side of the heart. You must have listened in this video that first oxygenated blood from lungs is reached to the left side of the heart. Now, next three options are obviously wrong, because blood in the left side of the heart is poor on oxygen. That is not a case. The oxygenated blood from the left side of the heart is brought to the lungs. That is also wrong. That is also wrong. Oxygenated blood from right side of heart is sent. That is also wrong, because right side the oxygenated blood is sent. And next question is, which of the following is the major function of platelet? One is clotting of the blood. Next one is oxygen transport. Third one is immunity. Next, fourth one is phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is a process that is not answered. Phagocytosis is the process in which your RBCs are eaten by microphagus. Macrophagus. This is called as phagocytosis. This happens in spleen. Your question is what is the major function of platelet? This is the clotting of the blood, because this disintegrate and give rise to thromboblast, which is utilizing blood clotting. That is all from today's topic. I hope you all have liked this video. You must have understand some of the important topics and concepts on this video. If you have liked, kindly like, subscribe and share more and more, so that I get motivated to bring more and more videos and informative information and share it with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.